Welcome back to the Happy Chicken Coop YouTube channel. How do you manage your chicken's wastes? Proper waste management is an important aspect of responsible chicken keeping. So in this video, we'll give you tips and ideas on how to collect chicken poop effectively, from selecting the right tools to implementing sustainable disposal methods. But before we get into it, please don't forget to give our channel some love by clicking the like and subscribe button. And for more tips to manage your backyard flock effectively, you can visit our website at thehappychickencoop.com or subscribe to our daily newsletters by clicking these links. Let's begin. Generally speaking, you only have to follow these steps to collect chicken waste. First, wear appropriate protective gear. Second, use a rake or scraper to loosen dried droppings. Third, use a shovel or scoop to collect the loosened waste. Fourth, dispose of the waste in a designated compost bin or waste disposal area. And fifth, regularly clean nesting boxes and roosting areas. But there are other options and considerations you have to think of. Here are the two easiest methods for collecting chicken poop. Number 1, catchment system under the roosting bars. Most of the manure in your coop will be directly beneath the roosting bars, so this is the most effective place for a catchment system. I have seen people use tarps, sliding trays, totes, sand shelves like an elevated litter box, tin, and dropping boards. I've even seen people use long kid sleds here, which worked surprisingly well. But before building your catchment system, there are things you need to think of. The first being, does your area have hard freezes? If so, consider adding sand or sawdust shavings to the catchment station to prevent the poop from freezing. How often do you want to clean the area? If you intend on dumping out the area a few times a week, you can use shallow pans or plastic sleds. But if you want to clean it a few times a year, consider getting something deeper, like a 45-gallon tub, barrel, crate, or tote. Should you do it flat or slanted? Slanting it can keep the chickens from roosting directly on the tin. But because chicken manure is a lot stickier, it can end up piling right where it lands. You would still have to use a scoop or snow shovel to remove the manure from the catchment tin. And lastly, do you want it aesthetically pleasing, or would it be okay if it's not? Personally, I find the elevated litter boxes that use sand or sawdust more pleasant to the eye than plain wood, tin, bins, or tarps. The second easiest way in collecting chicken poop is gathering it from the floor or ground. It's pretty straightforward. You'll need a fine-toothed manure fork or a flat snow shovel to scoop. It's much easier to scoop manure up with shavings or sawdust if you don't mind combining both. Sand may be a better option if you only want to collect the manure. Now, where to store your chicken's poop? If you are not composting it, keep the manure as far away from your coop and home as possible because it will smell. It should also be away from water sources, especially any streams, ponds, wells, or springs on your property. You do not want to contaminate the water with a concentration of manure. You'd also want to make it accessible. It should be an easy space to add or remove manure from. There should also be several dump locations in the collection area to rotate through new and aged chicken manure. Aged manure is safe for vegetation and gardens. Fresh manure will burn plants. If you have a few stalls or stations, you can rotate which pile you take from and keep your plants much safer. Another highly suggested idea is to consider composting the manure. Compost piles do not have an odor if you balance them well. Excessive moisture can lead to unpleasant odors and complicate composting, especially if you live in a wet climate. Consider using a cover for the storage area to protect the manure from rain. It's also important to implement biosecurity measures to prevent the spread of pathogens. This includes limiting access to the storage area and practicing proper hygiene when handling the manure. You might want to keep your chickens in a run or enclose the manure area so they cannot access it. And lastly, each chicken will make about 14 gallons of litter each year. So a flock of 20 hens will yield roughly 1.5 cubic yards of manure annually. This results in a pile that is 6 feet long, 3 feet wide, and about 2 feet tall. Think about how much space you will need for your specific flock. You might also be asking, what is the best tool for picking up chicken poop? It depends on the coop setup and your personal preference. Many chicken keepers use a rake, shovel, or a specifically designed manure scraper. If you have sand, use a fine-tuned fork. This looks like a large litter scooper with a long handle. If you have straw in your coop, use a traditional pitchfork. But if you have sawdust or wood shavings, use a scoop shovel or a snow shovel to scoop the poop up. This video only scratches the surface of what we have discussed in this article. Here, we have talked about the benefits of collecting chicken poop, its composition, some guidelines when using chicken poop in your garden, and troubleshooting common chicken manure issues like the smell, excessive moisture or dryness, and dealing with with pests. Just click this link for the full details. If you find this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. You can always visit our website at thehappychickencoop.com or subscribe to our daily newsletter for more tips and tricks in raising your backyard flock. Thanks for watching!